Hey guys, we're live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today my guest is Sell Quick, Ship Quick. I'm going to put you on full screen so everybody in the chat can see you. So go ahead and introduce yourself. So you guys are all the way from California, right?
Yeah. So I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Hugo.
And we have been reselling together since 2018. So it's been a few years now. We resell on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, Tradesy, Amazon. We'll do local sales as well. And we've done the Red Up. And what else? Etsy? Did I say that?
Yeah, Etsy maybe. And then we started listing some stuff over onto Depop and trying out Grail too. I mean, whatever fits there, but haven't made any sales there. So excited to talk reselling and side hustles because
we love
that.
Yeah. So outside of reselling, we also run a personal training business together that kind of got put on pause during COVID. We help my family with a few restaurants that they own, and then I'm also a financial aid director for a vocational school that he occasionally gets hired on to teach at.
Yeah. Back when everything was, pre-2020, really, I was one of the instructors there. So that was fun too. Got to do some hands-on instruction for personal training, which we also have a passion for.
Yeah, awesome. I'm glad to get in touch with you guys. I've been waiting, I don't know, it seems like a couple of months to be able to talk to you guys because we've just had different work schedules, and I'm in Tampa and you guys are all the way in California. So tell me, man, how are things been out there in California? I mean, you guys survived 2020 and now going into 2021. Is everything still kind of locked down, or have things opened up a little bit?
You caught us right as things were opening up. So I think the restrictions opened up about a week ago. So the restaurants and stuff are starting to allow some indoor capacity. I believe it's at like 15% capacity. Gyms started to reopen. Movie theaters started to reopen, but this was just within the last week. Yeah. So it's definitely been a lot more lockdown out here. And we're in LA County, so it was even more strict than some of the other cities.
Yeah, I think it was the strictest county of the state.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. We got a few people in the chat. I wanted to say hi to the Florida Resellers is in the chat, and I wanted to say hi to Raghevender Reddy. I don't know if I pronounced your name correctly, and it says, "Do you guys have an eBay store?"
Yes. So we are in the premium. Is that the?
Yeah, we have a premium eBay store.
Yeah, and then the new eBay, I mean, I think it's like premium allowed us for 1,000 free listings, but with the new seller update for eBay, it's going to get bumped up to 10,000 free listings starting April 1st. So if you have a premium store, then now you're going to get 10 times the amount of free listings.
Yeah, it's funny. I was getting ready to talk about that. So yeah, it's now is the time to get your hustle on, right? If they're going to give you 10,000 free listings, you have no reason not to hit the gas pedal, right? So,
exactly.
So you guys, you're basically, are you part-time resellers, or you still work a full-time job on top of reselling as well, right?
I think even before when we were part-time, I think we still gave it full-time effort because we're doing it together. But right now I do work part-time for the school from home. So I still put in anywhere from 20 to 30 hours a week there. And then we are working with some clients online for personal training. And then he also helps manage his mom's properties.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's still not our only source of income per se or job, but yeah, it is a lot more full-time now.
Yeah, I'm definitely for having multiple different streams of income, and you guys sell on multiple platforms as well. So, you guys mainly sell clothing. What is your niche that you guys sell the most of?
So I think clothing would be our number one seller. And then that's also because of our location. We are about 10 minutes from the LA Bins, and where we live, there's probably 10 different Goodwills that are within a 10-mile radius from our house. And because we're in LA and it's prime fashion location, we have access to a lot of really good brands that sell really well online that are, like in right now, trending. So our just the clothing availability for us is really high, which is how we started to increase our clothing sales.
Yeah, I mean, I by all means, I prefer to do hard goods. I like, vintage audio equipment and things like that, toys, and even modern tech stuff I like to sell. But like you said, it's what we have available to us. Because if I really tried just to do only hard goods, we wouldn't have as much available to us compared to the clothing, and in particular, women's clothing.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I wanted to say hey to Farm Girl Scavenger Noelle's in the chat. She says, hey, Tiffany and Hugo. She says 2 major rock stars in the house. I know. Tell me about it. They're busy. They've been hustling. So I wanted to acknowledge Wild Roamers. He says, I feel like all the videos I watch on eBay are trying to sell me a course. Is it possible to have success just watching free videos, or do you recommend buying a course?
So I think that if you are patient enough to go and search YouTube, you will have access to anything and everything that you possibly have a question for. We started reselling because of YouTube. We started watching Rally Roots, Daily Refinement. I started watching Empty Hanger when we were trying to learn women's fashion because I didn't know anything about it. And from there, that's how we started reselling. And I started watching different like inventory management videos, how to track sales. We Googled and watched a ton of stuff and played it in the background while we worked.
Yeah. And early on, we were selling a lot more hard goods, and some of those were bulky, big items that I wasn't sure how I was going to ship. I looked on YouTube, and now we've made our own videos related to that.
Yeah. Oh, and Wade. So we used to watch a lot of Wade's Ventures, and he was interviewing so many different resellers. We would listen to their stories and then listen to the different tips that they gave out. And we incorporated that into our business. As for a course, we eventually did pay for a coaching with Amazing Taste Store on Instagram. And Cindy is like an OG eBay reseller. And we did do her course, and her course is one of the more affordable ones. And her course is not one of those BOLO courses. Her coaching group was an accountability group that lasted about 2 months. And she taught us about the eBay algorithm, understanding it. And she gave us tips on that.
Helped us develop habits, which was important. Yeah, so it's a different type of course we took there. It wasn't somewhere where we signed up to learn the details of, how to list or how to ship, but different aspect of.
Yeah, and then she also gave us other ideas for other alternatives to reselling that we could incorporate into making money. So because I don't think that reselling is a passive income stream. You have to work for that. But with her coaching group, she was giving us other ideas for passive income, which we started to incorporate to make extra money too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all in all, you can there's plenty of information to figure it out without having to pay for a course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say there's so much free information on YouTube, and there's so many YouTubers putting out great content. You can learn for free. But, my biggest philosophy is, the school of hard knocks. You're going to learn so much more on your own by falling down and skinning your knee and skinning your elbow and find out, oh, this didn't work. Let me not bang my head up against the wall and do this again. So, just kind of mix it up and just try it out and see what works and what doesn't work. Because like these guys, they sell a lot of clothing. I may not like selling clothing, but you're not going to know that until you get out in the field and you start listing it, and people are asking you questions saying, I need photos, and can you give me measurements of the clothing? You're not going to really find your niche and find out what works for you unless you get out in the field and try it. And there's so many people in the community that if you have a question or you're stuck on something, you can send them a message on Instagram and they'll answer all of your questions, or at least point you in the right direction and help you out for free. Like I answer all my emails and Instagram messages, and I'm sure you guys do as well. So I just feel like there's so much free information out there. So I kind of wanted to get into your backstory. What were you guys doing before you became resellers, and what was it that caught your interest? Or you're just like, hey, we can make money doing this. I think we can do this. I think we can kind of, hit a home run with this. What was it that kind of, tell me a little bit about your backstory of what you guys were doing before you became resellers.
Prior to reselling, I was still working at the school, but at the time I was an instructor. So I was teaching the weekend classes and I was also in charge of student services. And that was more full time at the time. And I was also part time working at my family's restaurant.
And then I was full time at the family restaurant and part time at the school. I'd help substitute at times or help in certain classes only.
And then we were personal training a lot.
Yeah,
so we had a full schedule with clients. So it was restaurant during the day, school during the day, and then for about 4 hours in the evening, we were training different clients. Our weekends were filled with personal training. And then he was always really interested in flipping stuff.
Yeah, I mean, American Pickers, everyone's story. I used to watch that show, and I mean, in general, I like learning history stuff. I'm the person that watches how it's made just to see how a paperclip is made. So with that in mind, I see random things and it interests me, and then learning that there's value behind it and the potential of finding the right home for an item, you know, for collectors, for example, and stuff like that really interests me. So I started on my own. I told her I want to try it out. I went to do some garage sales, picked up a handful of things and sold it. I mean, I early on sold a Japanese card game, a vintage Japanese card game. Sold a couple blow torches that I found that sold overseas. Literally probably 3 sales. And I turned to her and I was like, that's it. This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. After 3 sales.
Yeah, 3 sales. But that happened, and then the restaurant blew up. So then what happened is right after those 3 sales, I was like, I ordered a bunch of shipping material, and then I didn't sell or list another item for like 3 years.
Yeah, that's what happened. Our garage wasn't a garage for the actual inventory. It was a garage that held shipping supplies for about 3 to 4 years before I think you found YouTube videos, and then you thought like, oh, we'll go. We didn't know it was called RA.
Yeah.
We started going to TJ Maxx and scanning a bunch of things. I didn't know how to list on eBay because it just looked so difficult. And I was just scanning things and giving it to him like, hey, this, I guess, does this work?
Yeah, and then one of the hot items that really brought us back in that was RA was a pair of clippers, beard clippers that had a laser guide and all this stuff. But we found them at TJ Maxx for about $50, I think it was.
Uh-huh.
And at first I was like, $50, I'm not going to buy something $50 to try to flip. And then I looked it up and $50 was turned into 400. And we're like, you know what, let's give it a shot. Well, I bought one and it sold overnight. And
we need to go.
We need to go back, yeah. And we did a full run through LA County of the different TJ Maxx. And again, we didn't know we were doing RA. Had no idea. We just thought, let's go buy something cheap and sell it for more. Yeah,
like we went on a road trip one day for hours, and we planned like a food, like how we balance our life. I know. I think the Florida resellers was asking. Well, when we thrift and when we source, we make it a date. And it's a whole food tour / thrift / RA day. So we would stop to eat and then find a Ross, look for the hair clippers, go to our next food stop, then go to TJ Maxx, food stop. And
coffee somewhere in there. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, so that's awesome. You're just like, road trip, let's go, let's get out here, let's go sourcing. So that sounds awesome. I wanted to say hey to a few people in the chat. I wanted to say hey to Annie. I wanted to say hey to Noelle, Farm Girl Scavenger. The Florida Resellers is here. They said Hugo is speaking to our hearts. And I wanted to say hey to the Flipping Accountant. And we had a quick question here in the chat. It says, do you see yourself doing reselling forever? Is this just part-time, or does it light up and energize you? Do you see yourself doing this until your retirement years? So they want to know, like, what is your like plans that you guys have or goals for you have for the future, and how long do you plan on doing this reselling gig?
I personally love reselling. I enjoy the hunt and
you also like the process, which is unique because you like the organizing and listing portion.
I know it sounds ridiculous, but I actually like organizing everything and putting labels on things and putting things into inventory, and I like doing the bookkeeping part because then I get to see how much money we've made. And I really enjoy doing that and working on spreadsheets and stuff. So, and it's something that we really enjoy doing together. And, you know, we get to spend a day out sourcing and eating, and then we come home and we process this stuff together. And, you know, I find it fun. And because we have the space for it, it doesn't take over the whole house. So then we also have that balance of keeping the work outside in our garage or hidden behind a door.
Another room. Yeah, we have a dedicated photo room. So we close the door and we don't see it. So that's nice. And then our inventory is stored in the garage where, again, it's out of the house. So we can actually hang out, have family here, and not see our reselling. So it's also nice to be able to disconnect. But I mean, we see it going for a while.
Yeah.
And the intensity of it, I'm sure will change at some point if we want to slow it down. But also with time, we're going to learn more and more niches that might mean we don't need a store with 1,000 items. We might need a store with 50 items because that's going to be enough.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure it'll vary. But yeah, I look at reselling as a stream of income. And I don't think it really matters how old, how young or old you are. I mean, there's people that are, you know, teenagers and college kids. There's, you know, single moms. There's retired people that just need to make some extra money on the side. And, you know, for example, last week I went to the bins nearby my house and I picked up this item for $1 last week, and it just sold today for $40 plus shipping. So think about how many man hours that would take you to work, if you were working a regular factory job somewhere, to make $40. Because it was real quick. It was brand new in the plastic. I picked it up. I checked out, went home, took a picture front and back, and it sold full asking price. I dropped it in a, you know, little padded envelope, shipped it out. So for me, I'm like, man, I made $40 in 10 minutes. I can't, you know, at a regular job, you're not going to be able to do that. So for sure. I wanted to say hey to the Hollywood reseller is here, and I wanted to say hey to the Flippin' Sports guy. He says, did the pandemic make reselling easier or harder for you guys? So you guys want to talk about how your experience was during the shutdown in California? Because I watched one of your videos about you guys getting the pallets of merchandise. So how was it for you guys being able to do your sourcing and shipping and being organized and staying motivated during the lockdown too? Because, you know, everybody's like, oh, it's the end of the world, we're on lockdown. And I'm like, no, this is going to pass. It's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. So you guys want to talk a little bit about that, how that was for you guys?
I think we were kind of on the same boat with everyone early pandemic when it first shut down. I think we kind of mentally shut down a little bit too. And we fell into what was the Tiger?
Oh yeah. Tiger King.
Yeah.
Whatever that was. King.
Yeah. We
watched that, and then we binge watched NCIS, the whole series.
We did a lot of puzzles.
Yeah. And part of the reason for that is we saw our sales drop, and then around us, everything shut down. So we couldn't necessarily be sourcing. And in terms of reselling, it wasn't too much we can do to affect it. So we kept relisting items.
Yeah. And then we went through a period where we did like the KonMari thing in our whole house. And we did like a vlog. We tried to vlog that. But we went through KonMari the whole house, started listing all that stuff up for sale. And we reached out to like friends, family, neighbors, anyone that was looking to clean out and donate. Our Goodwills weren't accepting donations. So my mom ended up cleaning her house during the shutdown, and she gave us like 10 bags of clothing. So that's how we got inventory early on. And so our reselling kind of slowed down a little bit in the first few months. Once the SBA loans came out, we were able to apply for an SBA loan. And with that, we purchased our first pallet. Once that first pallet came in and we processed it, we made our money back in about 6 weeks and profited. And I think we like doubled the money, which really motivated us to get more pallets.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting an additional 3. But once we started pallet purchasing, our reselling business increased significantly. I think we had our best fourth quarter in 2020, like throughout our entire reselling journey.
Yeah. And then also, I mean, those stimulus checks came in handy because people, when those came out, people started shopping again. random things.
Yeah, I'm super pumped and excited to have you guys on the show today. So, talk to me a little bit about how did everything go as far as when you're looking at buying pallets of merchandise. Could you give our audience maybe 2 or 3 tips or tricks or things that we should look for? Because there's the different types of pallets. There's manifested and there's unmanifested pallets. You don't want to just close your eyes and say eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and just pick one. You got to do a little bit of homework, a little bit of research on what you're buying and know what you're getting. Correct? Do you have any tips or tricks that you can share with us?
I would say Google is your best friend. So Google the pallets, find things that are local to you as well. We were able to find like a local source to us that we went to visit in person. And we personally have only purchased manifested pallets. And that was because we are not big gamblers and buying an unmanifested pallet was really scary. And where we purchase our pallets, the manifest is not 100% complete. It was probably 75% manifested. And then the remaining 25% was like unassigned. And that's something that you kind of have to gamble with. But what we did was before bidding on a pallet, I was going in to look at the manifest and then searching comps. So I was searching comps on the different things. And when you're buying a pallet, you cannot base your resale on the retail value.
Yeah, because oftentimes they'll tell you this pallet has a retail value of $60,000, but that is retail value that we don't necessarily have a direct reflection of.
And when you're looking at this stuff, just because something is a brand name doesn't mean that it's going to resell well or the turnaround is going to be fast. We don't want to hold on to things for too long. So part of that is when you're looking through these manifests, make sure that it's items that based on looking at the comps, they will turn around quickly and they will make a profit for you. Because there's always going to be inside pallets that are going to be lower end items. But, and then that's something that you have to make sure that you understand and that you can accept and are okay with, because you will have lower end items that you will have to sell at a lower rate, at a lower price to get out faster.
Yeah.
But we made sure to look through the manifest and do comp research to make sure that that pallet was something that we wanted to sell and would be profitable for us. And another tip for the pallets, once these pallets came in, we both processed the pallet and did a complete manifest ourselves to match it with
item one at a time.
We went through, checked for damaged items, and we matched our manifest to the manifest provided by the company. And in our 4th pallet that we purchased, there was a discrepancy of about 200 items. And we were able to catch that because we did our own manifest. We reached out to the company and they actually refunded us over $1,500 because we caught that and provided them the manifest that we had.
Yeah. And if we just took their word for it, we wouldn't know, because it's really easy to, when you have a bunch of clothes, you can't just look at a pile and know how much is in there.
Yeah.
So, but the pallet, it was something you guys found local in your area, right?
We've done some local, but we've also done some from online auctions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how much, if you don't mind me asking, how much is the shipping when you do something like when you buy a pallet from out of town or out of state? How much does it cost to have it shipped? And do they ship it to your door or do you guys go pick it up? Can you elaborate? I'm just curious because I haven't bought pallets in the past.
Yeah. So with the shipping on them, you can see where they're coming from. So when you're looking through, I mean, the different websites do the same thing. You can see where they're coming from. That way, have an idea how far they are. We're in California, so we were finding some that were in Northern California or still west side, but north of us, Oregon, Washington, which was cheaper than places because there were some auctions that were ending where the pallets were going to come from East Coast, where the shipping was double than what we were going to pay for if it was on the west side. But there is an extra charge if they got to drop it off to your home.
Yeah, you have to pay the liftgate fee.
Yeah.
Which I think the shipping plus the liftgate fee came out to about $350. And so when we average out, the price per piece in the pallet, we also account for the shipping and liftgate fee as well.
Yeah, and the reason it's liftgate, because if you don't get that liftgate, then they assume you have a loading dock or a forklift, because all they're going to do is bring a semi truck and open it, and that's your responsibility to unload it.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So, so you guys said with the first pallet that you guys got, you basically doubled your money, and you paid. How much did you pay for the first pallet?
$3,600 was the very first one.
Yeah, that's what I was I didn't want to say the wrong number, so I thought it was 3,600. All right, let me say hey to a few people in the chat. I wanted to say hey to Hollywood Reseller. I wanted to say hey to Farm Girl Scavenger. We have Florida Resellers. He says, do you think it's the same amount of fun with pallets versus thrifting and garage selling? And I wanted to say hey to Jen's Closet is here hanging out with us. And I wanted to say hey to Meritic 7. So do you guys want to answer that question about, do you guys have more fun buying pallets, or do you have more fun going to thrifting and do garage selling?
It's a different type of rush. I mean, we all like the thrifting rush. You're out thrifting and you find an item, clothing, hard good, whatever it is, and you realize this is selling for, $6, and you found yourself a gem. It's exciting. Similar in the pallet, not every item is a gem. So when you're going through, you'll come across some that's like, okay, now this is awesome.
And, even though they were manifested, sometimes we would find a really high-end piece that wasn't included in the manifest. So it was also a mystery going through the pallet. And that was the rush of it, was going through it and then finding extra high-end pieces that you didn't think you were going to get. And it's the processing of the pallet that was fun. I think we both had a good time going through the pallets together and like organizing that stuff. I just like organizing.
She likes organizing. So I like spending time with her, so it works.
But it's just two very different things. The pallet life, there's a lot of work that goes into it. Processing that stuff. And we got it in the summer and it was like 100 degrees in LA. So we were outside, really hot, really sweaty.
And then one of the pallets, we had to process fast, and we got through it fast because there was not LA, but California fires were going strong. And we had a fire that was probably about 10, 15 miles from us. We were safe from the flames, but it was raining ash the day they brought these pallets. And we had to get those in the house as soon as possible.
Or else all the inventory was going to get ash on it.
Or smell, and smell like campfire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I like doing both. I like being able to go to, yard sales and thrift stores and things like that. But sometimes it's like, you have to factor in how much time and how much gas you're spending. I mean, I might go to a thrift store and be there for an hour and only come home with 5 pieces, whereas I could go order a wholesale lot and have 100, 200, 500 items shipped to my front door. So to me, I kind of do both, because that way you're not at the house and saying, okay, I listed those 5 items I got at the thrift store. Now what am I going to list? Because I went through everything that I picked up. But if you can say I bought a big wholesale lot and I've got 500 items sitting here in the corner and you have downtime, you can just pull them out and have, it's like you have something to constantly be working on projects instead of just having downtime with nothing to do, So we had a few questions in the chat. Jen's Closet says, where have you found your best items?
I think true, it's still going to be in thrifting. We get excited with those finds.
But I think like where would be thrifting, and then location would be LA.
We've had the opportunity to travel a couple years ago.
Noelle brought it up in the chat. We actually met Farm Girl Scavenger Noelle in Portland. We met her at eBay Open, but we actually thrifted with her at the Vancouver bins up north, and that was fun. But in terms of like the best like big ticket items that we found, it's local to us. It's the thrift stores that are here, because clothing wise, a lot of the companies that do like movie work, Hollywood production,
even commercial shoots,
they drop off a lot of donations to the Goodwills, and a lot of
manufacturing.
Yeah, a lot of the manufacturing that's done in LA, they end up donating a lot of their leftover inventory or samples to the Goodwills. So we end up finding a lot of new with tag high-end designer pieces out here, and they're selling at Goodwill prices. So we've found new tags. What was it?
Frank and Eileen, a ton of those.
Yeah, but we found like a Zach Posen dress, which is a high-end designer. It was new at tags. We found it for $10 here at a Goodwill.
We found a lot of mother jeans.
Yeah, mother jeans.
All of them do.
Yeah, those sell for, at the time like $70 to $80. We were finding them for $5, and it was an entire rack that just got donated by the manufacturer. So, out here there's just an abundance of donations to the stores here.
Yeah. There are some fun finds that we've had elsewhere. Like, cause we were in Oregon, we went to Austin, and there's some cool random things we find, but ultimately
Austin, I ended up finding a broken Sega.
Oh yeah.
A handheld
Sega Nomad.
And it was broken. I found it for $2, I think, and we flipped it for $75 overnight.
I listed it there at the Airbnb, and sold overnight.
Yeah, awesome. Do you guys find any like name brand purses, like Coach purses, or things like that are like at the Goodwill or at the Goodwill bins nearby you guys?
So the Goodwills that we've been to, we'll see like Coach purses, but like the higher end Louis Vuitton, Gucci, stuff like that, it's normally at the buy-sell trade stores that we see. And we don't really do too much of the luxury handbags. We will sell them when they're gifted to us. Like my family will give us their hand-me-down designer bags, and then we'll sell those.
Also, like, as much as we love thrifting in LA related to the items we find, we do find some huge differences where when these thrift stores see a name brand, say Coach or Louis Vuitton, they quickly mark it up, even if they're not 100% sure if it's real or not. So it's hard to come across those, because I think we once found a coat that looked beat up. It probably wasn't real. I think LV. And they had it behind the counter for like $300.
Yeah.
So they really price up those luxury items.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you guys, how you're able to get things like authenticated and make sure that it's not like knockoff and know that it's legit. Because, you would hate to grab an item and think that it's real, and you spend $300 and you get home and find out it is fake, So there's a lot of that stuff that's going around. We had a question in the chat. The chat is moving today, but we had a question in the chat from Miratic7. He says, how do you get rid of cheap or broken items? So I think he's asking, when you guys buy a big pallet of merchandise, I'm sure some of the merchandise, even if it was new at tag, some of the stuff has to be like ripped or tears or stains or broken or have cuts or holes in it. What do you guys do? Do you just pitch it in the garbage, or do you redonate it, or what do you guys do with some of the stuff like that?
So we got really lucky because our very first pallet had almost 550 items, and we only had 10 pieces that were damaged. And from those 10 pieces that were damaged, we actually sold 2 or 3 of those flawed on eBay. So if it is like a small flaw, if there's a tiny hole, if there's a small stain that we can't get out, we'll list it on eBay, but we just make sure that we put flaw in the title, condition description, and then main description. We highlight the photo, and then we also indicate the photo with the damaged part in the description, and we'll sell that. So there's probably a handful of things that were overly damaged. Those we end up donating to Goodwill, and our Goodwills will give us a 15% off coupon when we donate. So we still get something from donating those pieces.
Yeah, so we like, if we have torn or damaged items like that, we'll have them on the side. And once a week, when we know those coupons are given out, we go donate a small lot of that stuff. And then some of the cheaper end items too, we'll lot those up for sale as well. Mm-hmm. Combine same sweater, different colors, same size. Or the other option too is buy, sell, trade. Sometimes even though it's low end for us to sell online, they'll accept it, and then we get store credit, and then we can shop their store.
Yeah, I was just talking about that last night, is that, if you have some low end items, instead of selling it for $3, $5, $8. You can lot them up and make a big lot of items and list them that way as well. So since I got you guys on the stream, can you guys give me maybe 3 or 4 tips that would help other resellers? Maybe if someone is a newer reseller, or maybe that's somebody that's doing it part-time and they want to become full-time resellers or make a full-time income from reselling, what would be like maybe 2 or 3 tips or pieces of advice that you can pass down to them since you guys have been doing it for a while?
I think staying organized is one of the most important things that get overlooked in reselling. You know, and keeping track of your inventory, or at least, you know, knowing your numbers so that you're not overspending or you're not spending more than you're actually bringing in. We try to update our bookkeeping once a week to see where we are in terms of sales, you know, if we should be running promotions or something because our sales are slow on eBay or on Poshmark. So having a spreadsheet that you can use, I just use Google Docs. I have a friend who's creating like personalized workbooks for people. And so in there, I keep track of all my custom SKUs, our inventory, what platform it's being sold on, our profits on there. And then I can see our daily breakdown, weekly, monthly, quarterly. But having that, we're able to have a better grasp on what inventory we're still holding on to, where the inventory is, and then how long it's actually turning around for us, so that in the future, we know if we should still be buying these brands or not.
Yeah. And that goes with really starting early. We always tell people, because we've had people tell us like, oh, you know, because we've done videos and on our Instagram, we talk about our organization and SKU systems. And they say, that's great. I only have 100 items, but, you know, when I get bigger, I want to incorporate something like that. And we tell them, do it now, because we constantly have been evolving. So our SKU system for our inventory has been relatively similar, but we just keep adapting it a little bit more. But having to go back to put inventory numbers, say, and organize 50 items is a lot easier, so that you can, from 50 items on, continue your system, than to reach 500 items and then have to go back and try to put it all in the system. So really getting organized early.
Yeah. And then, you know, creating your own custom SKU system for yourself, because having that custom SKU system makes shipping a lot faster. Because we have our organized system in place, when it's time for him to ship, he can pull, you know, 20 items in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And having the custom SKUs already incorporated into our eBay store, you know, into our eBay listings, when he prints out the labels, the custom SKU comes out on the label and it's a quick matchup to the item so that we don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
But having that system in place makes shipping that much easier. It makes managing the inventory easier. And we're not losing items.
Yeah. And then I think another tip would be, work with what you have. Everyone's in different parts of the country. Like we said, I would love to only sell hard goods and focus on vintage items. But what we have available is in abundance is women's clothing. And that's what we work with, because that's what we have. If you're somewhere else where hard goods is what you have available, work with that. Because I know it's sometimes hard when we see people on Instagram or YouTube putting out names of brands that you want to find, but if they're not abundantly available in your area, you might be slowing down your own, you know, business journey. Yeah, your own progress, because you're too busy waiting to find that one item when you might have 20 items in front of you that are valuable.
And another tip, because we're so involved with our social media, because we want to share our journey and, you know, any tips that we think might be helpful for anyone that's following us. Be wary of everything that you see and hear on social media, both Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Take everything with a grain of salt and do your own research, and don't just take anything that someone is saying online as the only way to do something or as the only factual thing that you can do in reselling, because anyone can make a TikTok and anyone can spew out information and it can be completely bogus or not work for your business. So just because we do things one way doesn't mean that's the only way to do it. I think that as a reseller, there's so many different business models and you have to find what works for you. So take all that free content and then make it your own.
Yeah. Because we've seen videos or people put that a certain label just doesn't sell. Stop picking up this label. It doesn't sell. Well, in our case, that label sells quick and for good money. Likewise, other people will put up, you have to pick up these items. In our case, they don't sell well. So it really is take what you learn and do your part too.
Yeah, it was like we were talking about earlier when the guy was asking about buying courses. I think the best way for you to learn is just to learn from hard knocks. If you buy this particular item for $1 and you try to list it for $30 and it doesn't sell, then don't pick that item up again. So you're going to learn so much more from making mistakes on your own than I can teach you in a 2-hour course, you know. So there's so many things you're just like, oh, I didn't do so well with retail arbitrage because everybody has a different model. So I wanted to give a shout out to the Irish. Lugsay Poshmark, I don't know if I said your name correctly. It had a $1.99 super sticker. So thank you for coming and hanging out with us today. We appreciate you. Meritic7 says great content, tons of good tips today. Farm Girl Scavenger says always and forever. Hugo and Tiffany will be my favorite couple in reselling. The teamwork and partnership they have is amazing. Yeah, you can tell they have really good chemistry together. And I got a question in the chat from Little Debbie says, is it important to my return policy and my listing? I don't sell clothes often, mostly hard goods, and I wonder if that helps.
I mean, we don't put it in our actual description. It's just for eBay, this is a personal choice. Does not mean that you have to do this for your business, but we offer free return on our eBay store. And the reason we do that is for our own protection. eBay has told us in the past that if you offer free 30-day returns and we have, a
quick handling time, so same day.
Yeah, so we do same day handling and we offer free returns. And if we get a negative review or if we have a disgruntled customer for that item or they try to pull a false INAD case, eBay will remove that on our behalf because we offer free returns. And even though we offer free returns, it has not increased our
return
returns.
Rate. Yeah.
Yeah. Our return rate is still low with that in mind. But the reason that we do it is eBay will protect you if you have that in place.
Yeah. So again, it's not in the listing, but I mean, with eBay, the buyer can see when on their end, when they see your item and the price underneath, eBay highlights things and they'll highlight it there if you do offer returns.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I offer free returns on my eBay store as well, just in case there is an issue or the customer says this item was not as described or someone wants to leave you negative feedback. You're like, bro, I sent you a brand new item, new in the shrink wrap. If you have an issue, just return it to me and I'll give you a refund. I'm not trying to scam you out of a $20 item. Like if you're not happy, we'll take care of you. And also, I think that reflects positively because one of the things people look at besides your photo and the price, they look at your feedback on your eBay store. And if you have 2 or 3 negative feedbacks and I have 0 and we both have the same item listed, they're going to go to the person that has 100% feedback. So that's really important. So I wanted to kind of get into what are some of your goals or projects that you guys have for yourself this year in 2021? Like what are some of the goals that you guys have for yourselves? And can we expect to see you guys back on YouTube anytime soon? Can talk to us a little bit about what some of the projects that you guys have coming up.
YouTube is on that list. We just hadn't had like the time to sit down and film and do editing and stuff. We got really into like being more creative with our YouTube videos and trying to get like good production quality out of it.
Yeah, and we wanted to come back with that in mind. So that takes a little bit more planning for us. And again, we were focused on the reselling, which is what brings in the money. Because YouTube is really our creative outlet right now. It doesn't pay the bills. We do it for fun.
Yeah. It might buy us a few tacos here and there. But we do want to come back on YouTube, and then we are also trying to get back into Amazon. Our focus the last 2 years on Amazon has been mostly during Q4. And so right now we're trying to get back into Amazon so that it's more of a consistent
year-round type of
business
for us. Yeah. And that takes its own work there. And then reselling wise, we've kind of stepped back from pallets. And now that the stores have opened up, we're stepping right back into the thrift stores, which is fun for us. We enjoy it. And again, we make trips out of it. So recently we've gone out thrifting to what we call the west side of LA because we're not right by the beach. But that just means we get to eat food out there and thrift. So that's always fun.
Yeah. So I think our goals right now with everything opening back up is to get out and thrift some of the stores that were closed, probably more food tours, and YouTube, Amazon. And we're trying to, I don't know, I guess like that's really what that is for reselling. Yeah. And then like we have personal goals, but
we have
outside of reselling.
Yeah, fitness goals for ourselves and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I love it that you guys make reselling almost as like you're almost as like a date night. You're like, hey, let's go out and go sourcing. Let's go everybody to eat for dinner. Let's hang out. I just feel like that's awesome. Instead of saying, well, where have you been at? You've been at the Goodwill bins, or you've been at sourcing. That you guys can kind of work together and go out and go sourcing together. So that's awesome. So is there any major sales that you guys have had lately, or is there any other major finds? Is there anything in particular that you would like to talk about that you had any major home runs lately?
So it hasn't sold yet, but we went to Goodwill recently and I found a dress that was new at tags, and it's a very basic dress. Like it looks like a t-shirt that goes to your knees. And it had this like animal print on it. And when I looked inside, because the tag wasn't at the neck, it was at the bottom hem, and it's from the designer, I think I'm saying it right, is Issey Miyake, a Japanese designer. And this item was new with tags, and I picked it up for $5. And when we went home, I looked it up, and this piece was a collaborative piece with another artist in Japan from 2014. And the only comp that I found on this dress was on this reselling website that I can't remember the name of right now, but the sold was for $1,500, and that was for a pre-owned version of the dress, and the one that I found was new with tags. So I do have it listed at $1,500 on eBay, and we do have, I think, 2 watchers on it. So that is something that we are very excited for.
Yeah, hopefully it sells. And besides that, at good sales, I mean, random stuff that we've sold recently, which is fun. A friend of ours, a reseller friend of ours from the area, let us know that there was a garage sale, and went over, check it out. And the funny part is really what they had out on display was clothing, a lot of shoes, and some knickknacks. But that's what we tell people. Look beyond what's in front of your face when they're selling at garage sales. Behind the racks and on the shelving, I spotted some bike seats. And when I looked closely, they were banana seats from the Schwinn. Well, one of them was a Schwinn banana seat, and the other one was a different brand, I forgot, but similar style of a saddle seat for the vintage bikes. And we picked those up for $40, and for both of them, and a handlebar. And the 2 seats sold each for, I think one sold for about $240, and the other one sold for about $150. So those were fun flips, and they sold fairly quick too. So again, it's something that was hidden behind stuff, and they were willing to sell it because they didn't even realize they had it.
Yeah. And another find that we have that we still have to fix up, but it's sitting in our backyard right now. A IG friend of ours messaged us and told us that during her walk nearby, there was an Ethan Allen farm table that was left on the sidewalk. And so we went in our little Prius, and luckily we had a toolbox in the car. When we showed up, it was a Ethan Allen farm table that had the extension, the leaf extension, and it was in really good condition. We took it apart with the tools we had and stuffed it in the Prius, got home, and I was able to look up more information on it. And the same table sold used for over $1,000. So we just have to clean it up a little bit, and then we're gonna list that. But
yeah, for local, I'm not shipping that.
yeah, but that was, you know, something that we found on the sidewalk that someone just dumped in LA.
Yeah. Awesome. So I'm following you guys on Instagram, and I know this may be boring to some people in the chat, but you guys have like a really good inventory system, like where you put all your items after you list them. And so can you talk a little bit about where you guys store your merchandise in and how you kind of have your inventory system laid out? So that way, whenever you find an item sells, you're not spending a half hour looking for 2 items. Like, you know, right where they're located at, right?
Yes.
Well, first, when I first started on my own, I did the pile system. I had a pile A and pile B, and I knew roughly where things were because I didn't have that many items. But as I started collecting more and she saw that, she started asking me questions like, you know, valid questions like, how much did you pay for that? And I'd be like, I don't know, like $5, maybe $10. And then she'll ask me, well, how much did it sell for? I don't know, like 20, 30. And she's like, you got to know your numbers. And she jumped on, and then she put in an inventory system, which has been a lifesaver.
Yeah. So I'm all our bins, we have all our bins labeled. So it's like A1 through A99. And then everything inside the bins are labeled with, we print them out now on the Rolo, but we print out little custom SKUs on it. And everything's in chronological order, and we place everything vertically. So for all our clothes get processed, they get put into a resealable plastic bag. And then the SKU number gets placed on that plastic bag. Those get stood up vertically inside each of our bins. So when it's shipping time, he can open a bin and he can see all the numbers vertically and flip through that. Those are stored in clear plastic totes. We like to use a clear one so we can see inside the bin. And then everything that we use is from Costco. So all our bins, all our shelving, and then that's stored in the garage that's in the backyard. So
yeah, and then the other part about that is all the numbers now. At first we used to repeat them, but now we don't repeat. So every item has their own unique number, and that helps us because that SKU system continues on to bookkeeping and even on eBay. So for example, if we sell an item on Poshmark and the item number on it for us is A22-3. Now on eBay, we can just go to the custom SKU numbers lookup, and we just got to look up that number. And without opening the item or having to search it by name, say Free People, it'll pull up exactly that item, and we could delist it if we need it. We can edit if we need it, or if for some reason we found more, we can just go in there and increase the quantity.
Yeah, and so you're basically your custom SKU. Do you have that like on was it on your printing shipping label, or is it on the app so you know exactly where to find it at, right?
So that number, she puts it in as she's listing, and she prints out through the Rolo a little, you know, what is it, 1x2 sticker, and it'll say A122, whatever. And she puts that on the item. Yeah. And then that number is put on the eBay SKU. We put that on Poshmark and Mercari as well. And then when I'll put away the inventory, I make sure to put those numbers in the appropriate bins. So then when they sell, I just see that number in our SKU system and pull it out. We got some here to show you.
Yeah.
Well, I was just asking because I've seen other eBay resellers, and they'll actually put like AA1 or AAB, and they'll put that in the title of their listing, so that way they know exactly where to find it. So I didn't know if that was where you guys put it at.
No, so we put it in so eBay has a space dedicated to a custom SKU number, and we put it on there. And then Poshmark also has that available.
Yeah. So then our bins, just a clear plastic bin. Here we have, so here's our custom label. So
I see it.
B44-1, and then I also print out the weight. And then to make these Rolo labels, I use Canva. So as I'm doing the listing, I'll create the labels on Canva, print this out. But here we have the bin number, which is B44. This is the first item in the bin. And then that's the weight right here. So then the very next item we have is B44-2, and then it just goes in chronological order like that. And then
Okay, got
yeah,
it.
so then everything's just stacked vertically.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it makes it really easy to ship, which is again always our goals when we look at the way we process things. Comes down to making things as efficient as possible. We do batch work for photographs. We do the works to avoid having to repeat processes that end up taking up time. Because like we said, we don't just resell, so we have to make sure we fit in everything else in our daily schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So I appreciate you guys coming on. We've been streaming for about an hour. So hour went by quick, and I appreciate you guys coming on and hang out with me. So tell everybody in the chat where they can find you at on YouTube and Instagram so they can go follow you.
So we are very simple. We keep it sell quick, ship quick on everything. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on YouTube, which we will be back.
Mm-hmm. You can find us on TikTok. And then we also started another YouTube channel dedicated only to shorts. And that one is SQ Shorts. And so if you don't catch necessarily reels or the small video format from the other platforms, we're bringing them on to YouTube as well.
Okay.
So Sell Quick, Ship Quick is our bigger Instagram account, which is all reselling. And then we started a second Instagram account that's Tiff and Hugo. But the Tiff and Hugo account is where we share all our other stuff. So we'll share food, our meals. Yeah, a lot of fitness, a lot of food, recipes.
Plants.
Yeah. Everything outside of reselling on that one.
All right, awesome. I wanted to say hey to a few people in the chat. I wanted to say hey to Betsy. I wanted to say hey to Mo from Reseller Niche. I wanted to say hey to Steve from Reseller Dojo. Farm Girl Scavenger was here in the chat hanging out with us today. eBliss Reseller Solutions says eBay should be coming out with a second custom label filled soon. And I wanted to say hey to Little Debbie and anybody else in the chat I missed today. Thank you guys for coming on and hanging out with me. So go ahead and give me your final thoughts, and I'll let you guys go. And hopefully I'll get to meet up with you guys again soon in the future. And we appreciate you taking time out of your day to come on and hang out with us. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on YouTube because I have your links down below for YouTube and Instagram. I'm a subscriber of your channel, so I'll look forward to seeing you guys back on the platform soon.
No, well, thank you. I mean, thank you for reaching out. I know it was a little bit of a scheduling thing. We were going back and forth to figure out when it worked. Glad it did, and we got it done to meet up here. I mean, final words. We like to say that reselling is a simple process. You buy something cheap or for a low price and you sell it for more. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's easy. So reselling isn't that easy. Takes time. It takes consistency and, like we said, organization. So just keeping that in mind when you have those days when you think your sales are slow, just stick to it. It will work out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're always open to answering questions. So if you guys find us, the best way is through Instagram. If you DM us, we'll do our best to answer or direct you somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And thank you so much for having us on. We enjoyed the last hour with you.
Yeah, it flew by.
Yeah. Slow sales happen to everybody. And guys, I would just say just keep on listing items, and it's going to pass. You're going to have some days where you're just like, man, I've got 25 items to ship out. So you're going to have good days and bad days like everybody does. You just got to keep on hustling. So thank you guys for coming on and hanging out with us today. I have their links down below in the description. So go by and follow them on YouTube and Instagram. And I'll see you guys next week. You guys have a great weekend. I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.